हरे कृष्ण। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन जमुना तीरवनचारी। जमुना तीरवनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जय जय राधे जय जय श्याम जय जय श्री वृंदावन धाम। जय जय राधे जय जय श्याम जय जय श्री वृंदावन धाम। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जय राधा कालचंजी राधे जय राधा कालचंजी श्री राधे। Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Hri Hri Bo. Thank you. Hey Krishna, welcome to Srimad Bhagavatam class. Thank you so much for coming. We have spring break for Krishna House, so it's just us today, this week. I'm so glad that you all have joined us. It's if you can, because we don't have the screen here, so I'll tell you what we are covering today, and if you want, you can open it in your phones. So we are continuing Canto 1, Chapter 2, and today we'll read from text 16 to 22. And today we'll focus on text 17. So 1, 2, 1, 6 we can open right now. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We can recite this together. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayet nashtaprayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuda Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaitva Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatar. Hare Krishna. So let's continue from text 16 of Canto 1, Chapter 2. We have the mic? Great. So we can read the translations.
Text 16. O twice-born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all vice, great service is done. By such service one gains affinity for hearing the message of Vasudev.
Text 17.
Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramata, super soul in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear the messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted.
By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact.
So I'm sure you're all familiar with this verse. We read it every day. Nashtaprayeshu bhadreshu. So we'll dive deeper into this in some while. Text 19.
As soon as irrevocable loving service is established in the heart, the effects of nature's modes of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankering, disappear from the heart. Then the devotee is established in goodness, and he becomes completely happy.
Thus established in the mode of unalloyed goodness, the man whose mind has been enlivened by contact with devotional service to the Lord gains positive scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in a stage of liberation from all material association.
Thus the knot in the heart is pierced, and all misgivings are cut to pieces. The chain of fruitive actions is terminated when one sees the self as master.
Certainly, therefore, since time immemorial, all transcendentalists have been rendering devotional service to Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, with great delight, because such devotional service is enlivening to the self.
Jai. Thank you so much. We'll come back to text 17 and we'll discuss this verse. Let's recite this verse. Please repeat after me. Shinvatam swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Hridayanta Sthoya Abhadrani Vidhunoti Surit Satam Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Hridayantasthoya bhadrani Vidhunoti surit satam. One more time. Shinvatam swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Hridayantastho bhadrani Vidhunoti surit satam. Please recite. (17) Shanvatam Swakatha. Shanvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Hridyantastha Bhadrani Vidhunoti Suritsitam Srinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Hridayantahasthoya Bhadrani Vidhunoti Suhrit Satam. Srinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Hridyantahasthoya Bhadrani Vidhunoti Surit Satam. Thank you so much. Word to word translation. Shrinvatam. We can read this together. Shrinvatam, those who have developed the urge to hear the message of Swakataha, his own words. Krishnaha, the personality of Godhead. Punya, virtues. Shravana, hearing. Kirtanaha, chanting. Hridayantasthaha, within one's heart. He, certainly. Abhadrani, desire to enjoy matter. Vidhunoti, cleanses. Suhrit, benefactor. Satam, of the truthful. Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, Supersoul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtues when properly heard and chanted. Purport. Messages of the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, are non-different from him. Whenever, therefore, offenseless hearing, I repeat, offenseless hearing and glorification of God are undertaken, it is to be understood that Lord Krishna is present there in the form of transcendental sound, which is as powerful as the Lord personally. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Shikshashtaka declares clearly that the holy name of the Lord has all the potencies of the Lord, and that he has endowed his innumerable names with the same potency. There is no rigid fixture of time, and anyone can chant the holy name with attention and reverence at his convenience. The Lord is so kind to us that he can be present before us personally in the form of transcendental sound, but unfortunately, we have no taste for hearing and glorifying the Lord's name and activities. We have already discussed developing a taste for hearing and chanting the holy sound. It is done through the medium of service to the pure devotee of the Lord. I repeat, it is done through the medium of service to the pure devotee of the Lord. The Lord is reciprocally respondent to his devotees. When he sees that a devotee is completely sincere in getting admittance to the transcendental service of the Lord and has thus become eager to hear about him, the Lord acts from within the devotee in such a way that the devotee may easily go back to him. This is a very special line that's going to come. The Lord is more anxious to take us back into his kingdom than we can desire. Most of us do not desire at all to go back to Godhead. Only a very few men want to go back to Godhead. But anyone who desires to go back to Godhead, Sri Krishna helps in all respects. One cannot enter into the kingdom of God unless one is perfectly cleared of all sins. The material sins are product of our desires to lord it over the material nature. It is very difficult to get rid of such desires. Women and wealth are very difficult problems for the devotee making progress on the path back to Godhead. Many stalwarts in the devotional line fell victim to these allurements and thus retreated from the path of liberation. But when one is helped by the Lord himself, the whole process becomes as easy as anything by the divine grace of the Lord. To become restless in the contact of women and wealth, so whenever we are reading women, it's /men also. For women, it's men, and for men, it's women. To become restless in the contact of women and wealth is not an astonishment, because every living being is associated with such things from remote time, practically immemorial, and it takes time to recover from this foreign nature. But if one is engaged in hearing the glories of the Lord, gradually he realizes his real position. By the grace of God, such a devotee gets sufficient strength to defend himself from the state of disturbances, and gradually all disturbing elements are eliminated from his mind. Such a wonderful purport. In fact, this all these verses, these texts on all the purports are really good that we are covering today. So, this is the beginning of Canto 1. This is the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam. And this is chapter 2, which is such a nice thing, right? That Srila Prabhupada is giving away the essence in the beginning itself. We don't have to wait for it to be revealed that what is the goal of life. So we remember, right, in the previous text, previous chapter, there were 6 questions that were asked by the sages of Naimisharanya to Suta Goswami. So we know originally Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken by Shukadev Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj. Where was it spoken? In Shukratal. And now in Naimisharanya, the sages are discussing that Bhagavatam and asking questions to Suta Goswami. And one of the questions that they ask for our benefit is, what is the goal of life? And it is explained that the goal of life is bhakti. It is practicing devotional service to the Lord. It is Krishna Prem. But today we are going to actually discuss, we know what is the goal of our life is to satisfy the Lord. And it is bhakti. But how do we progress in bhakti? We understood that's the goal, but how do we go ahead? How do we progress and go deeper in our bhakti, in our love for God? What do you think is the answer that came today? Any thoughts? How can we develop deep love for Krishna? Exactly. There are 2 answers. The first is, sorry, you were saying something? Somebody was saying something at the back? No, okay. So Tulsi Sakhi Mataji said, rendering service to a Vaishnava, to a devotee, to a pure devotee, right? That's one. What's the other one? With care and attention to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. So when we recite this verse every day, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, Nityam means constantly, and Bhagavat Sevaya means to hear the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam and to serve a Bhagavat, living Bhagavat with flesh and wound. Somebody who is a devotee, a pure devotee, who practices the life of Bhagavatam, who we get the opportunity to serve them. And the first one was to hear, not just hear Bhagavatam with challenge in the heart and okay, what am I hearing? Let me find out. But with submissive attitude, and also to have craving for Krishna Katha. One thing is hearing Krishna Katha. The other thing is, do you crave to hear Krishna Katha? Is that lollum, that desire there in your heart that, oh my God, I'm going for Bhagavatam class right now. I'm going to play this lecture of, this person. I'm so excited. And that greed should not go away. That constant greed of hearing Krishna Katha. Because Krishna Katha is not different from Krishna. Even Krishna comes where Krishna Katha is happening. Wherever we are listening any glories about the Supreme Personality, the Supreme Personality leaves everything and comes and hears with us. I mean, what amazing thing, right? We have association of Krishna himself. So we really need to develop these 2 things. The urge to hear Krishna Katha, Srimad Bhagavatam, and to serve a pure devotee. Now this is very important. This is where the first one we might be able to, develop. That's also difficult, but we might be able to. But to serve a pure devotee with love, this is something we really need to develop, because when we come into spiritual life, we come by the mercy of devotees only. But once we come, years pass by, we think we can survive without them. We think that it's okay, it's between me and Krishna, we'll manage. But that's not true. The presence of devotees is as important as presence of Krishna in your life, maybe more. Because Krishna is really pleased, in real sense, when we are attached to a devotee. When you become attached to serving devotees, Krishna becomes attached to you. But why? Why is so much importance given to serving Vaishnavas? Why do you think so? Why does Krishna become immediately sold when you are the servant of his servant? Why do you think that's the case? So Mother Kunti is saying Krishna's devotees are always at his lotus feet. What else? Why are they at his lotus feet? So why Krishna's heart melts for a devotee is because the devotee is always taking risk to spread Krishna's glories. A real devotee is a preacher. And preacher always, no matter what the situation is, they want to preach the love of God. They want to preach how amazing Krishna is, and he's the person that we are missing in our life. He's the one we deep down in our heart we crave for. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, right? I'm not making it up. Krishna says that one who spreads his glories is very, very dear to me. Krishna says that that devotee is very dear to me. And Krishna protects him at all costs. The perfect example of protection was Prahlad Maharaj. Nrsimhadev appeared to protect his devotee. Prahlad Maharaj was preaching. He was just 5 years old. And how did he develop that consciousness of a pure devotee? How did Prahlad Maharaj, Bhakt Prahlad, develop that consciousness? By hearing in the womb of his mother, Mother Kayadu. Narad Muni came and all the demigods were very scared. Oh my God, Hiranyakashipu is such a big demon. They were scared of him. And now he's going to have a son. And they were really scared. But Narad Muni came and he said, no, this is an exception. This is a pure devotee in the womb. And Narad Muni constantly did preaching. And it's not that the devotee is standing in front of the spiritual master is outside the womb and the devotee is inside the womb, and still he's hearing constantly. So Shravanam can be done anywhere, anytime. So Krishna Katha and serving devotees, this is, two things in our life if we can really work on. This is our goal. Serving devotees. Now, how do we serve pure devotee? How do we know somebody is a pure devotee? Well, this is something we have to be careful with. We don't have to become judge at every point in time. We meet people, we meet devotees, and we say, okay, Uttamadhikari, Madhyamadhikari, and we are just making a checklist. That's not what we need to do. But we need to understand, first of all, that there are levels to achieve that state. First of all, we strengthen our sadhana. We become true in our practice. And we don't judge devotees. That's really important. If somebody is being short-tempered, let's say, this is very important. Like, if I get deeper into this, there's just a small percentage of, very small fraction of devotees living in this world, right? As compared to the whole population, maybe few percent. And in that also, this is our family, and in that also, if we start judging people and shooting guns with our words, it's a big aparadh we are doing. somebody's left everything and come into spiritual life. We shouldn't judge them. Okay, that person is maybe short-tempered. ठीक है, I mean, it's fine. At least, this person is practicing Krishna consciousness. This person is struggling. And I don't want to make this person's struggles even harder by giving this person a hard time. Maybe somebody's sleeping during japa, falls asleep during japa again and again. We shouldn't judge them. It's okay. This person is trying. Krishna is not judging them, so why should I? Once, when Srila Prabhupada was there, one drunk man, really intoxicated, came to the center and brought a toilet paper. And he gave to the temple, like, here, this is what I got. And everybody was like, what? Who brings a toilet paper as a gift to the temple, to the deities? And Srila Prabhupada said, he brought what he could have, what he can. This is a gift. You accept it. Once in, I think it was in Vrindavan, this is the past time I heard, it was really nice. We know in Vrindavan there are lot of devotees come, different moods, Brajvasis, all kind of varieties there. So there was Hari Shauri Prabhu, an Aussie, Australian Prabhu, was very strong. He was the temple commander. And there was this Brajvasi who came and he was looking at Krishna Balaram, Shri Radha Shyam Sundar and Gaur Nitai. And he was just singing Radhe, Radhe, he was totally in his mood. And suddenly he just sat there and started eating something in front of the deities. And Hari Shauri Prabhu came and he's like, what are you doing? You're not supposed to eat in front of the deities. And he said, okay, they started fighting. They had a heated argument. And Hari Shauri Prabhu, being a very strong biceps and like a commander, he took him and he threw him out of the temple. And when Srila Prabhupada got to know, he got really upset. He called Hari Shauri Prabhu in his room and he said, you go and find that devotee and ask for forgiveness. And Prabhuji said that, but this is not the culture of the temple. We are not supposed to eat in front of the deities. Srila Prabhupada said, no, you go and bring him back. Otherwise, don't come back to me. And he was really upset, like, I have offended Srila Prabhupada. And he went, imagine going out of Vrindavan temple and looking for that one person. It's really hard. Like, he went everywhere. He went to Mathura. He went 2 days. He was just looking for that devotee. And he couldn't find. And all the devotees later on called Hari Shauri Prabhu, hey, come back, Srila Prabhupada is calling you. And he was really scared. I couldn't find that person. What am I going to say to Srila Prabhupada? He might be really furious. And then he went up to his room and Srila Prabhupada was there. And in front of him, that devotee was sitting, who was thrown out of the temple. And Hari Shauri Prabhu came and he just met Srila Prabhupada, paid obeisances. And Prabhupada said, okay, give those apples to that devotee. He said to Hari Shauri Prabhu. And, so Hari Shauri Prabhu took those apples, gave as a gift to that devotee, asked for forgiveness. So both of them hugged it out and the matter was settled. But imagine what was the need of Srila Prabhupada to make sure that this devotee apologizes who has offended the other devotee, who is a local Brajvasi. That's the mood of our Krishna consciousness, of our bhakti, that we should be really careful and see how we are treating devotees. Somebody who has come to Krishna, who are we to increase the distance between him and Krishna? Already, don't we think the distance is big enough between us and Krishna? Especially the people outside bhakti tradition. And why do we want to make it harder? Even if they take one step, they're coming and they're doing it. So it's really important. Sometimes we get confused between, okay, we want to follow the rules and, everything should be efficient. Efficiency is so important. It is, but effectiveness is more important. And what is the difference? Efficiency is to do the right thing. Okay, it has to be done this way. When you're doing Aarti, you have to be like this. You know, when you're chanting, back straight, and you have to just chant. Like, there are some rules. Probably somebody falls asleep and you throw him out of the temple. No. Somebody who's singing, maybe going off track, you throw him out, you get angry. No. That's not efficiency. The effectiveness is doing the things rightly. How, if you really want to help the person sing better, cook better, or do some service better, you teach them with love. You teach them with example. You appreciate them. You encourage them. So we don't have to become commanders. We don't have to become... The funny thing is, when we look at other people's mistakes, we become the judge. And when somebody calls out our mistake, we become great lawyers. That, oh no, this is not what I meant, you know. Oh, start giving tark vitark, like so many logistics start coming up. Because there is so much dirt inside our heart, we don't want that anybody pokes our ego. Imagine we are walking, just imagine there's a big balloon with you. And that big balloon is of ego. And what we are doing is, everybody has that balloon. The big ego of, you know, I'm so good, I'm so beautiful, I'm so this and that, etc., etc. And what we are doing as devotees, what we shouldn't be doing is we are walking with needles and poking those balloons. Because we are so perfect, we know where it hurts the most. We don't need to poke those balloons. So let's not become judge, but let's become, you know, encouraging. We want to love devotees. We want to love Krishna, so we need to love devotees. That's the ladder. And this dirt is so much accumulated inside that the only way this dirt that can go away are, which I told you in the beginning, the two ways. By serving a pure Bhagavat, pure devotee, and by hearing Krishna Katha. And then you know what happens? We read in text 17. How is this dirt cleaned? How is this dirt taken away, cleansed? By Krishna himself. Where is Krishna residing in your body? In your heart. And the dirt is also right now around there only. And poor Krishna has to stay there, imagine. But what he does, he takes just imagine the scrubber, he starts cleaning it. When you start listening to the glories of the Lord, when you start loving devotees, Krishna wipes that dirt away, himself. He wipes it away. How beautiful is that? That Krishna, just this is actually the stage of Anartha Nivritti, which takes the most time. How does all the stages start? With Adav Shraddha, initial faith. Okay, let me put up this lecture. This seems like a nice sadhu speaking English, B.Tech degree, IIT Bombay. Let me hear him. I think this is all most people get attracted to temple or to hearing about something, because we see the material qualification first, and that makes sense to us, to our material, brains. So we start with Adav Shraddha, little bit faith. And then when we start coming to temple, we get some association. We get sadhu sang. And that association motivates us to do some bhajan, chanting. We do nice bhajan. Maybe not nice, but we start doing some rounds. We start chanting. And then with bhajan, when we start doing nice chanting, japa, remembering Krishna, singing kirtan, sitting in kirtan, then starts the Anartha Nivritti stage. And this is the stage where it takes most of the time. Because there are so many anarthas within us. Not of just this life. You can't even imagine so many lifetimes of anarthas, like literally fixed deposit in our heart. Like it's just there. But we don't want to increase the anarthas by offending to devotees while we are already here to remove these unwanted desires, unwanted emotions. And then comes initially, this faith becomes now determined, nishtha. It becomes very determined that I want to go to temple even if it's snowing. I want to go to temple, I want to do my rounds, I want to wake up in the morning, I want to chant. And then comes ruchi, where the real interest comes in Krishna consciousness. Then comes detachment, and then comes bhav, where it's like awakening of love. The bhav is like, morning daylight has come. That awakening of love for the Lord is there. So it's not love yet, it is like extreme likingness. And then comes prema, where it's full daylight and the sun is as bright. So that means the love is just pouring out for Krishna. It's just a long journey. But, there's this one phrase that Sri Rabindranath Tagore says, it's simple to be happy, but it's difficult to be simple. That's the problem. Bhakti is not, Krishna consciousness is very simple, because all you have to do is come in front of Radha Kalachandji and bring just your heart. That's all you have to do. Just bring your heart. Even if it's impure, it's definitely impure. It's whatever stage it is at right now, but we bring with, okay, Krishna, I'm being transparent with you. This is who I am. You bring that heart to Krishna, and Krishna will clean it. That's his work. He will do it. But we need to do our job. We need to love devotees. This is really important. So my Guru Maharaj always says, trust, love, and cooperation. These three things are very important. Trusting devotees, loving them, and cooperating with them. Cooperating is very hard for us. When we start living around with devotees, we start getting angry at small things. We start, okay, this is my favorite devotee and this is the devotee I despise. No, please. You can have your favorites, but don't hate anybody. Don't hate somebody. Because what we do is, our brain, our minds are very illusional. We see one bad quality in somebody and we maximize it. Like we make that quality, but that bad thing, the identity of that devotee. And we ignore all the other great things that person might be good at. Maybe that person is short-tempered, but you see that, okay, let me focus on the other great qualities that this devotee has. And sometimes we go out of this bhakti tradition, we see normal people and we say, these people are better than some devotees in my group. Why? Because there we are looking at the good qualities. So it's really important that we shift our focus to good qualities of devotees. And becoming more accepting towards our own dirt. That's really important. We maximize our good qualities and we minimize the good qualities in others. But there was this one line that came that was so touching, right? The Lord is more anxious to take us back to his kingdom than we have the desire. Srila Prabhupada said in the purport, some people don't even have the desire to go back to Godhead. Only some few men have that desire, some few souls. But Krishna is more anxious to take us back. So if we just try to serve devotees and we just regularly hearing Krishna Katha, that's so simple. And Krishna is more anxious to pull you back to his kingdom. That's all that's all. We don't have to do some big tapasya. We don't have to stand on one leg, control our breath. We don't have to stop eating. I mean, Krishna consciousness is like so much enjoyment. We're eating the best prasadam. It's better to struggle a bit between these things that we're doing, like struggling in the rounds. Sometimes people say, I'm struggling so much in chanting. It's better to struggle in these 16 rounds than in the 84 lakh birth, the 8.4 million births that we have to take. This is much better. Prabhupada has given us the best. And association is so important no matter at what level you are. When Srila Prabhupada during his last time, he called His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj and he said, please call all the devotees right now in my room. And everybody was so anxious. Okay, Srila Prabhupada is calling. Maybe it's a major instruction at this point while he's during his last time. And all the devotees came and Srila Prabhupada one by one looked in the eye of every devotee. And everybody was waiting. Something is going to come. And then Srila Prabhupada said, now you all can go. Thank you so much. And when they asked, why did you call us, Srila Prabhupada? And he said, I just wanted to have some devotee association. I just wanted to look at all of you and get some devotee association. Even Srila Prabhupada wanted that. He's showing us with that through that example, that no matter what level you are, you cannot survive without devotees. You cannot do bhakti without devotees. You just cannot. And when you meet devotees, there should be exchange of love. That should give you energy. Not like you're back home, oh my God, I had a hard time today at temple, or we had a hard fight, difficult time in Prasadam room. The puris were less, somebody took 10 puris, I didn't get any. I mean, come on. This is, if we, zoom out and we try to understand, are we here to complain? Or we actually came to Krishna consciousness to seek love, to seek happiness, to make our lives less problematic. I'll just pause here, and if there are any questions, any comments, realizations, or anything that I may have missed out from the purports or translation, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Vrinda Sevika, for nice class. So you were making a point about the anartha nivritti stage. And so sometimes it feels, like you said, we should be careful not to make offenses. Is that the only reason why sometimes we feel there's like more and more anarthas keep surfacing and we have to deal with them?
The offenses, you are saying, is the offenses the reason? Firstly, we have a lot of anarthas already accumulated from our past birth, but as devotees, I read this yesterday, a devotee sent it to me, that the problems in a devotee's life is due to inattentive chanting. Bhakti Rasamrita Swami Maharaj says this. In a devotee's life, I'm talking about, the problems are because of inattentive chanting. Now that means that we have no interest in chanting. And why we lose in, first of all, we haven't developed it only, but if, what do I say, that we have lost the interest, but the reason that we don't have that interest is because we are definitely doing offenses. We are offense doesn't have to be, I say something on your face. It's not the only type of offense, right? There's hanti, nindanti, krindanti. So it's first of all, being violent to devotees, getting angry, blaspheming them, not greeting upon meeting them. Like Vaishnavna Abhinandati, like you don't greet when you meet a Vaishnav, which means when you meet a Vaishnav, your heart should feel happy. You should feel love. When we don't do all of this, when we don't say Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Mataji, we are actually, that's an offense because we are not acknowledging that there's a devotee, a Vaishnav in front of me. And that, yes, the anarthas, they don't go away. So the whole purpose of chanting is to love. This is, Krishna consciousness is love. This is love consciousness. Like we need to become aware. We need to, this knowledge of who I am. I'm glad that you asked that question, because then this purport, you remember that line came in the which one was we were reading, 17th, and that foreign nature. So I'll repeat that line, last paragraph in 17th verse. To become restless in the contact of women and wealth is not an astonishment, because every living being is associated with such things from remote time, practically immemorial, and it takes time to recover from this foreign nature. Now this nature, this opposite sex attraction is the core essence of Kali Yuga. Like this is so strongly prevalent. It's probably still there in our hearts, the attraction to the opposite sex. And it's very hard for us to come out of it. But the only way we can recover from this foreign nature. Now why Prabhupada said foreign nature? Foreign means something that is not your real nature, right? Foreign is, this is something we have taken up in the material life, in the material world. But our real nature is to serve Krishna. The only way that can happen is when the Lord shows grace upon us. The Lord gets merciful. That's the only way. So we need to evoke the mercy of the Lord through Vaishnavas. We serve Vaishnavas, Vaishnavas are pleased, Krishna is pleased. But if we serve Krishna and Vaishnavas are not pleased, are with us, then Krishna will not be pleased. When Dhruv Maharaj was going back to the kingdom, to the spiritual world, he stopped and said, "Where is my mother? Is she coming?" And then they showed, yes, there's another plane that's coming that is going to escort her. And he was happy. Because it was because of his mother, even though she just said, go and worship Vishnu, right? Go. That was a simple instruction. But because of his mother, he came and he got the mercy of Krishna. He got the mercy. So we should really not forget every devotee that we have come in contact with, they gave us Krishna. And now we forget them. We make offenses. Even if that person just told us, okay, you asked him, where is the temple? Oh, just remove your shoes there, come on the right side. That's where the entrance is. That person has brought you to Krishna. Even if a person, I'm sure you all have had experiences, the few first people you met in your life that gave you the message of the Lord, preached you, gave their time. Probably they did a lot of sacrifices, gave their time, they had their own families or whatever other stuff to do. They talk to you about Krishna, they talk to you about your problems. So yeah, I hope I was able to answer that. Is there any other question? Or anything you want to add? Any realization? Any comment? There's this one line that comes. This is text. Basically, I'm trying to look at this verse, but yes, 21, the translation. Thus the knot in the heart is pierced, and all misgivings are cut to pieces. The chain of fruitive actions is terminated when one sees the self as master. What does that mean? One sees themselves as master, meaning one sees themselves as soul. Not supermaster, but soul. Right now we are constantly seeing ourselves as the body, as the mind, right? But soul is higher. And when you see yourself as the soul, you start serving Krishna, you start hearing the glories about him. Eventually, Krishna cuts these knots in the heart is pierced and all misgivings are cut to pieces. Such a wonderful scientific way. Everything Srila Prabhupada has explained step by step what really happens. You start serving devotees, you start hearing Krishna Katha, Krishna starts cleaning your heart. That's the next part. Krishna starts cleaning your heart. And that's a constant process that you keep hearing. Not that I've heard enough. Now at this point in my life, okay, I am Krishna conscious. I have nothing else for me to do. No. So somebody had, I think Radheshyam Prabhu had asked this to His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, that we keep hearing, I mean, of course it was not his question. People often say, ask Radheshyam Prabhu that, keep hearing Bhagavatam, like, I mean, that's okay. Like the same thing we keep hearing every time. What after that? And Radhanath Swami Maharaj said that it's not that you've heard enough Bhagavatam, or there's never a point that you've just, now you know Bhagavatam, but to be more it's the whole point is to be in the present and remember Krishna at all times. So when you're hearing Bhagavatam, you're remembering Krishna at that time. So whenever you hear Bhagavatam next or you read, you're remembering Krishna again. So the whole point is that you are in the present and you're remembering Krishna. You need to make it your existence. Like that's your eternal conscious state. As Srila Prabhupada says, always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. That's what it means. I think if there's no other question, we can pause here and wrap up the class. Thank you so much for coming today. And let's all really pray to Radha Kalachandji that may our heart be cleansed by him and we get the energy, we get the enthusiasm and mercy. Only Krishna's mercy is needed. Shri Shri Radha Kalachandji's mercy, that we are able to develop laulyam, real greed to hear Krishna Katha and serve the devotees with genuine heart, with real prem. Thank you so much. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anant koti Vaishnav Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Kalachandji ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
आँखों पीछे सजलोए माया जाने अंधो होए माया जले बद्ध होए आँखों पीछे सजलोए माया जले बद्ध होए माया जले बद्ध होए आँखों